Hi there, this is David, and I was thinking that there are many top 10 lists out there of the best RPGs for the PlayStation 2, but they're all dominated by the Final Fantasy series. It's a great series, no question, but what would a top 10 best PlayStation 2 RPGs list look like if we just got rid of the series? Well, let's find out. Number 10, Star Ocean, Till the End of Time. This to me is probably the last great entry in the Star Ocean series, which has been around and is still going strong since the SNES era. Building on Star Ocean 2's great item creation system and robust character development, you are once again thrust into an underdeveloped planet. However, this time, instead of taking on the role of an inhabitant of that planet, you're from an advanced planet yourself. There are many characters to recruit, combo attacks to learn and utilize, and trophies to earn, before trophies were really even a thing. There are some problems with this entry though, keeping it at only number 10. Like being restricted to only having 3 party members in battle, dying whenever you run out of MP, the relatively short length, and the ridiculous plot twist ending. Oh, and don't forget the Star Ocean mainstay of god-awful voice acting. Number 9, E6, The Ark of Nepishtim. Prior to E6, the last Ys game to be released in the West was Ys 3, Wanderers from Ys on the SNES, way back in 1991. After a long hiatus and many missed games, it took 14 years for Adol's ship to crash land in the West. But believe me, it was well worth the wait. Adol's back in a fully realized, beautiful 3D world and with voice acting to boot. Although, predictably, Adol's still silent among the boisterous crowd. Bump combat has fallen out of style, but Adol makes up for it with combination attacks, the ability to jump, innovative platforming, and 3D graphics that weren't possible on previous entries. Like all Ys games, the story is short, sweet, to the point, but masterfully told and a blast to play through. A diligent player can get through the game in one sitting. As far as I'm concerned, this is the best action RPG on the system, and a jewel in the crown of the Ys series. Number 8, Wild Arms 4. Many people consider this to be the black sheep of the Wild Arms series, but I'm not one of them. It's actually my favorite entry, and the reason all boils down to the new Hex battle system. Whereas Wild Arms 3's battle system was about as exciting as watching paint dry, Wild Arms 4 is strategic, involved, and a ton of fun to play. The scenario system is gone, and this is also the shortest game in the series by far, but I think that that's also a strength. Nothing is dragged out needlessly. It's a great story, well told, and most importantly, fun to play through. My one complaint about it though would be the lack of a traditional world map. I did think long and hard about putting Wild Arms 5 on the list as well, but I only wanted to have one entry per series on this list, and 4 beat it out because of the brevity of the stories, no annoying characters like Carol, no useless classes, no wall to climb, and having 4 characters in battle. Check it out and give it a chance. It won't take you more than about 30 hours to beat anyway. Number 7, Shadow Heart's Covenant. Whereas all of our previous entries have had long histories spanning multiple console generations, the Shadow Heart series starts and ends with the PlayStation 2. But it's amazing nonetheless. The beauty of Shadow Hearts is that it takes place in an alternate reality Earth during pivotal moments in history, and fantastically mixes fantasy, horror, and reality. The story and characters are charming, lively, and humorous, brilliantly voiced, and most importantly, realistic. Yuri, the protagonist from the first game, returns, along with his take-no-prisoners attitude. All 8 party members are unique in their own way, gain new skills in special ways as well, such as killing wolves, creating aromas, or gaining muscle arts. The game uses a turn-based battle system, but with a twist, namely the Judgment Ring. Think Legend of Dragoon's additions, and you pretty much have the gist of it. Essentially, you have to hit the sweet spot on the ring in order to deal more damage, but the ring is also customizable for each character to suit your playstyle. It's set in Europe with the backdrop of World War I, and you'll meet some real people in your journey such as Anastasia and Rasputin, and this is a game that you will not soon be forgetting. Number 6, Growlancer Generations. 2 games for the price of 1? Yes, please! This is a compilation of Growlancer 2 and 3, expertly localized by working designs and packaged together in one stellar package. For those of you unfamiliar with the series, Growlancer is a real-time strategy game where every action has a wait time associated with it, and everyone, allies and enemies alike, moves simultaneously. And while many battles are the typical kill-all enemies, there are a surprising number of encounters where you have to do other things, such as protect villagers, hit a switch, or just escape. Each game has multiple endings, branching paths, and different girls that you can woo. Unlike most strategy RPGs, there is a world map to explore along with expansive towns that you can actually explore as well. This is no cheaply made menu-driven RPG here. And don't think of this as a group of two mediocre games, because these are both excellent games well worth your time. Number 5, Grandia 2. Man, Grandia desperately needs a reboot. We haven't seen an entry since the PlayStation 2 days, and this is the last great Grandia game. Grandia 2 follows in the footsteps of its predecessor in gameplay, battle mechanics, and charms, but amps it up a notch in terms of maturity. Instead of playing as a broad-eyed and bushy-tailed protagonist, this time around, you step into the shoes of a brass, atheist, chauvinistic mercenary. But you're surrounded by the usual fare of friendship is everything party members. And as you can imagine, the humor abounds, even with the normally mundane NPCs. Your leading lady, Elena, is your typical JRPG heroine, a religious white mage who loves everyone. But to shake things up a bit, she gets possessed early on and periodically transforms into Millennia, an incarnation of the evil god Valmar, and with the personality to match. This is a joy to play and not to be missed. Number 4, Manichemia 2, Fall of Alchemy. This might as well be 2 games in one, and a huge hidden gem on the PlayStation 2. This one flew way under the radar, and I can't really understand why. At the beginning of the game, you have a choice of protagonists, Razor Ulcra, and depending on who you choose, your playthrough will be entirely different. They aren't just gender-swapped cookie-cutter characters. You'll have your own separate party members, go to different dungeons, and do entirely unique quests. Also, throughout the course of the game, you will run into your protagonist counterpart, normally around a boss battle. Because of the way the game is set up, you really do need to play through it 2 times to fully understand what's going on, because oftentimes, what motivates the opposing team is in direct opposition to what you want to accomplish. The story is lighthearted, well-told, and humorous. And also, don't think that this is just another one of those Nisa crafting games. This is an RPG through and through that gets down toe-to-toe among the best of them. Number 3, Suikoden 5. I know that most people think that Suikoden 2 is the best in the series, and believe me, it's great. But as far as I'm concerned, this is as good as the series gets. The boring chapter system and multiple protagonists of 3 are gone, and thankfully the excruciating sailing of 4 is nowhere to be seen. All the weaknesses of the previous games are dropped, and they went back to the basics and kept only the strengths of the series. The story takes place in the Queendom of Felina, that is rocked by turmoil, and the hero's mother, Queen Arshtat, is trying desperately to keep the peace. But in order to do so, she has to harness the power of the Sun Rune, which eats away at her sanity. Over time, this catches up to her, and the Queendom is no longer safe. So, after a long prologue, you, the prince, are exiled from the capital and on the run. From there, it's typical Suikoden goodness, gathering 108 stars of destiny, building a castle, saving your mother, and reclaiming your kingdom. Number 2, Tales of the Abyss. I began the Tales series with Tales of Destiny on the PlayStation, but I was woefully unimpressed to the point where I didn't even buy Tales of Destiny 2, but I heard good things about Abyss, so I picked it up years later, and with that, my love affair with the Tales series began. The world in Tales of the Abyss is ruled by the score, which is essentially a prediction of every little thing that's ever going to happen in the future, written and recorded. Everybody has to follow the score, and to Luke's dismay, he is recorded as being the hero destined to save the world. But Luke isn't your average JRPG hero. He's a spoiled brat. He whines, complains, and curses whenever he doesn't get his way. In other words, he's pretty much a modern-day teenager. And because of this, at first, I really couldn't stand the game. But once I gave it a fair shake, I found this to be one of the best RPGs on the system. While the game may start out as a checklist of cliches, after about 20 hours or so, the game takes off on a wildly new direction and really comes into its own. The character development is second to none, and Tales of the Abyss really raised the bar and put the Tales series on the map. Number 1. Dragon Quest VIII. Talk about a masterpiece. The Dragon Quest series has been around since the NES days, and I would be hard-pressed to find a bad entry in the entire series. But this gem is the jewel in the crown. The game is absolutely gorgeous, with classic cartoony graphics and beautiful orchestral music. Your party is fully voiced, a first for a Dragon Quest game, and they use British voice actors who really fit the characters. And, speaking of those characters, each playthrough of the game can be completely different thanks to the innovative and immersive skill tree system. Each town is unique and lively, and the dungeons are extremely well designed. There's no long, narrow hallways here. The world map is a joy to traverse, and could very well be the best designed map I've ever seen in a JRPG. And, to top it all off, longtime fans of the series will find several nods and throwbacks to previous games, such as the Orbs and Ramia from Dragon Quest III. The PlayStation 2 is a treasure trove of wonderful RPGs rivaling that of the PlayStation 1 and SNES for best system for JRPGs of all time. What are your favorites? What would you include? Do you agree or disagree? Please let me know in the comments, and as always, please like and subscribe, it really does help me out. Have a good day.